Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bonsais Forever. So I was walking out here looking at this tree and I noticed that there was a ton of ants crawling on it, and you can kind of see right here on the side of the pot, and if I can actually show you the ants, it's kind of hanging out right here, these guys. So those guys were all over this tree just a little bit ago. Decided that I would do a quick video here. So if you see one of your trees having a bunch of ants crawling all over it, it's a good indicator that there's something wrong with the tree, because the ants will, if there's something wrong with the tree, like aphids or some kind of pest, the ants will actually protect the pest on the tree so that they can have the sap that's coming out of the tree. So this is a Barbados cherry, and as you can see, it's looking nice branch structure, but the leaves are not full. It's missing a lot of leaves down the branches. It's got long gangly branches. I've kind of let this tree just go for now. I want to get some new growth on it, and well, it's not getting that because I'm pretty sure it had some kind of pest, because the ants were a good indicator. Also, the leaves dropping off are a good indicator as well. So it's got plenty of flowers on it. It's got plenty of flower buds. Let's see if I can find them with the camera here. Oh, here we go. So it's got plenty of flower buds. So the tree's healthy enough to produce fruit, but it's got some kind of issue. So what we can do for the first regiment of treatment on a tree that you think has an issue, but you can't really see an issue, is get your weed sprayer out, which I don't necessarily spray my trees with weed killer, but I get a weed sprayer so that I can put like soap, and I use water soluble fertilizers sometimes. So I'll put like dish soap in the weed sprayer and I'll hose the tree down. Now you can see that there's not a whole lot of ants crawling over it, because I've hosed it down really good with the dish soap. So what the dish soap does is it will suffocate the aphids or the pest that is on the tree. Hopefully, actually there's an ant crawling on it up here still, but the next step is to get your hose, and I like to use kind of a harsh spray on this. I'm not going to use like this is what I use to water the tree. I'm not going to use that spray because that's not going to get anything off. That's what I use all the time, right? So let me fix the hose. Trying to do this one-handed here. All right, so I'm going to put this on. I'm not going to put it on the jet, and I've got soap on the hose too, so that makes it just that much harder. I'm going to put it on the one that sprays like this. So it sprays a bunch of solid jets, and I'm just going to hose this tree down. I'm going to get up underneath of it. I'm going to try and get good camera angles. So I'm going to spray this tree down really good. I'm going to try and get the entire tree with the sprayer and spray every bit of it off with the harsh spray. And obviously this is not going to hurt the tree. Even the flowers aren't getting knocked off with this, but all the bugs and their eggs are going to be knocked off with this. So then I'm going to hose down the weeds that are on here, which those are going to come out after I get done doing this, because that's a good place for bugs to hang out. So I'm also going to spray down where I've got it sitting. And that cool little thing right there is something I made with a welder. Just have it sitting out here. It's all rusty, but it's still something kind of cool. So anyway, I'm going to hose this down. I'm going to hose the tree down. I'm going to get all of the bugs off of this tree. And then in a week or so, I'll have to bring you guys back out here to show you all the new growth on the tree, because it should have some new growth now that I got rid of the bugs on it. Okay. So now I got all that taken care of. Good morning, everybody. It's Jay with Bonsais Forever. So I've got a tree here that I started taking a video of, which I'm going to put as part of this video. So a couple of days ago, or about a week ago, I was looking at this tree, and it has ants on it. And I was telling you that ants are probably an indicator of some kind of issue with the tree, which is what's going on with this tree is it's being overwatered. So I've got a sprinkler system because I'm a super busy guy. I've got over 300 trees, and actually I've got almost 400 trees now. So it's really tough for me to get out here and water all the trees whenever they need them or whenever they need it. So I put in a sprinkler system to help me out on the days that I couldn't get out here, and it's been super hot, and I had it set for twice a day, and the twice a day was too much. I could have done it twice a day for a little bit less time, maybe. I don't know. I need to dial that in a little bit better and try and hand water my trees. But anyway, so what we got is this Barbados cherry tree. Super cool tree. It's got a lot of movement. It's got a lot of ramification. This tree is pretty old. I'm trying to think. It's got to be at least 10 years old in my care. And when I got it for my daughter because she wanted to, participate in the whole bonsai thing, which is super cool. She's not as into bonsai now as she was, but she's into more. Excuse me, keep hitting the tripod. Let me fix that. So she's more into houseplants, which is totally cool with me. That's awesome. I like all plants. But anyway, let me bring you in a little bit closer to show you what I'm getting at with overwatering. So as you can see, it's got yellow leaves, and the yellow leaves are yellow from the inside, if I could get it focused, from the inside out, and that indicates overwatering. Now if you've got yellow leaves or leaves that are brown on the tips like this, that means underwatering. So it was being underwatered, and then I started overwatering. So the balance of water and oxygen in your trees is very important. You don't want to overwater them. You don't want to underwater them. So watching your tree and noticing that it's getting yellow leaves and it's starting to have, if I can turn it around here, starting to have a little bit of fungus on the leaves, that means that you're overwatering it. The leaves will drop off, and it should grow new leaves if the balance is restored. So this tree should do just fine. It's gone through 10 years of me learning how to take care of a Barbados cherry tree, and also it's gone through 10 years of me dealing with other trees while I'm taking care of this tree as well. So it's going to survive. It's going to do just fine. One thing that I'm going to do right now is I'm basically just picking off all the dead leaves off of it so that it can recover from being overwatered. So this is a really good example. This is a beginning example of what it looks like. Sorry guys for the camera work here. Good example of what it looks like when it's being overwatered. And this is like the first stages. So you can see this leaf here. It's yellow on the petiole side of the leaf. If you start seeing your leaves looking like that, then it's a good indication that you're overwatering your tree. So slow down on the water, let it dry out a little bit better or a little bit more, and you'll be good. So I get a lot of questions. how do I water my tree, or how do I take care of my tree? And I mean, the number one thing is you want to water your tree. You want to take care of your tree, but you don't want to overdo it. So basically, I guess my what I'm trying to say here is watch your tree. Watch it. Look at it. See what it's doing. See how it's responding to what's going on with what you're doing with it. I'm going to clean this off real quick. There we go. So basically just pay attention to your tree and watch what it's doing. If it's growing, it's got new growth and all the leaves are bright green or nice dark green color, then you're good. So whatever you're doing, do that. If your leaves start turning yellow from the inside out, slow down on the watering. If your leaves start turning yellow from the outside in or sagging too much, give it a little bit more water. And this works with any tree that has leaves. If you're talking about a conifer, they've got either needles or they've got like the green foliage, like a juniper. I guess you could call those needles too, but that's different. We'll go into that on a different video. This is actually called a broadleaf evergreen because it doesn't drop its leaves, but it's a leaf tree. So so with the ants are probably on here because it's being overwatered. They are trying to harvest the funguses that are growing on the tree. So to get rid of the ants, we've got to get rid of the fungus. And to get rid of fungus on this tree, I'm going to repot it because this soil is probably too organic, and that's why it's holding a lot of water. Because this is not the only tree that's having issues, but the trees that are having issues are the trees that are needing repotted. So I'm going to go ahead and repot this tree, and we're going to look at the roots. We're going to get rid of all these nasty weeds that are on it, and then we'll go from there, because this tree should recover relatively quickly after this process. So I'm going to try and not get bit by these ants because they are pretty mean. Well, I guess not mean. They're very territorial, and they'll sting you, and it hurts. So I'm going to try not to get jacked up by these guys. And the soil that I've got in here is the same kind of soil that I've got in the tree, so I'm just going to mix it together and then clean it out later, like I've told you I do. So I'm going to see if I can pick up the tree here. Nope, I'm not going to just get to pull it out of the pot here. So I'm going to grab a saw blade to get this out of here. You don't have to use a saw blade, that's just what I'm going to use today. And I'm going to go around the edges of the pot to loosen it up. If y'all have watched repotting videos before, then nothing new here. Just same thing you do every time. Loosen it up along the edges. And then just pull it out of the pot. This pot is it's rounded up to the top, so getting it out across the edge here sometimes is a little difficult, but not too bad. So you should be able to do this pretty easily. Try and kill some of these ants. I don't hate ants, I just hate being bit by the ants. We've got a really big ant problem in our yard. We live kind of out in the country, so ants everywhere. Go through a bag of ant killer at least once a month, if not more than one bag of ant killer. They just pop up and pop up and pop up. It's crazy. So I'll be honest, I don't remember the last time I repotted this tree either, so that's also another reason why I'm going to go ahead and just repot it because of this issue. So I know it needs repotted. And these weeds, it's called gunpowder weed. I don't know if you can really see it. That's what when I looked it up, that's what I came across, is they call it a gunpowder weed, and I don't know why. I didn't do any more research than just the name of it, but they grow like super easy. They don't have really long roots, which is really nice, so they're just kind of covering the top of the pot with the roots, but still it's just too much, covering the entire top of the pot with the roots, because then you can get more bugs inside the pot from having them in there like that. So I'm gonna look. I think I have this tied down, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut the wires here. There we go. I don't tie down all of my trees, just some of them. This is one of them that I did. Alright, so yeah, you can see I haven't repotted this in a while. It's got a pretty good mat of roots on it. So I'm going to go through, basically these roots are just going to break off, it looks like, on the outside edge, which is nice, because I can just do that. Just break the outside edge off. And if you look, the bottom of this is pretty dry, and the top is like saturated. So that's another really good indication that you need to repot your tree if that's going on. I'm going to use my pick to pick through the soil here. I'm not going to take all the soil out. Mostly wanting to get the outside edges at this point. It is still summer. I don't want to go crazy with repotting this because that could cause further issues. So I just want to get this big root mat off the bottom so that the water will go through the tree, and I wanted to get the weed mat off the top of it. And then while I've got it out of the soil, or out of the pot, I do want to get this the anchor wire off of, out of the soil here too. So I'm going to try and find that. Alright, so I found the wire. It was an aluminum wire, so it's nice and easy to get out of here, which is great. So I think this is pretty good for the roots. I'm going to trim them up. Like I said, I don't want to take off too much of the soil. I don't want to disturb all of the roots, or do too much, because it is going to be hot again before it cools off. I'm going to take off some of the really large roots here on the top. So by trimming the outside edges of these roots, it's going to help them to ramify again and give me some more feeder roots, which is also going to help to thicken up the roots at the base of the tree, which you can't really see them at this point. I'm not going to really go into too much root work on the top of the root ball right now. Like I said, I don't want to kill this tree in the middle of summer. So I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to go clean the pot. Alright, so I got the old soil out of the way and got the pot all cleaned up. I got a different screen for it because I like how I do the screen on the whole bottom now. I'm going to use my typical bonsai soil for this, the smaller granules. I hope I have enough. fits. Next thing I'm going to do before I get this all potted up is I'm going to clean this tree off. I'm going to use my toothbrush and some water, and I'm going to scrub the algae off of it, because that's also going to help this tree recover. And doing it now without the pot is going to help me out a little bit. I'm going to grab a bucket of soapy water. Okay, here we go. Alright, so I got my soapy water. It's easier without the hose all up in there. Alright, and then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and clean off all the green on this tree, because the green is also going to be what the ants are going after, and also not having the moss on the side of the tree and the algae growing on it is really helpful for the tree to breathe. So I want our trees to breathe and be able to perspirate, which helps them to not be overwatered. So that's one thing with the trees. If they can't breathe and they can't perspirate, then it's a lot easier to overwater them if they have less leaves on them and if they're really dirty. So keeping your trees clean, and the more leaves the better. The more leaves you got, the more you're going to have to water it, but it also helps if you're like me and you like to overwater everything. It helps not to overwater everything. This is actually starting to look really nice as a bonsai tree after all this time. One cool thing about these trees, they do grow pretty rapidly when they're growing properly and healthy. So you can really turn one of these into a bonsai pretty quick. It's taken me so long just because I've got so many trees and I've got other things that I'm taking care of, and this is an easy tree to take care of, so I don't pay as much attention to it. I just kind of enjoy it because it's so pretty, and I love how it droops like it does, like a willow-like tree. One of the common names for this tree is a weeping cherry. I've tried to look up natural pictures of natural Barbados cherries, and I really haven't found a whole lot of them. You see a lot of pictures of the cherries, and you see a lot of pictures of the leaves, but you don't see a whole lot of pictures of the tree from a distance, you know, like looking at the tree from a distance. So I don't know, I'd really like to see some pictures so that I can kind of get an idea of what the end result might be on this tree, but just have to keep looking, I guess. Right now it's not super hot, so I'm not really worried about the roots being dried out right now. And by cleaning this tree off like this, it should also help with the ants to stay off of it, because it's cleaned off now. I'm just going to have to keep up with it for the next couple of weeks at least, and make sure I'm not overwatering it. And I'm going to try and just hand water all my trees for a while, just because I've got a couple of trees that are having issues with being overwatered and a couple of trees with issues of being underwatered. So hand watering them is usually the best way to maintain a balance. So, alright, so I'm going to get this in the pot now. I'm going to add a little bit more underneath it. it'll be kind of nice to see the base of this tree again. It's had weeds on it for a long time. Yeah. This fan is trying to go, but it's not going. It's annoying. Stop it. I have a fan that's ran by solar. And the sun is out, but the solar panel's facing the wrong direction right now, so it's not catching enough sun to get the fan going. Get some of this soil chopstick down in there. I'll try and hold the tree in place so that I don't push it out of the pot with the putting the soil in. So I'm going to work the soil a little bit into the sides of the roots, because that'll open up the side roots and get them to go in the right direction to go out into the pot. And after I get this tamped into the soil or into this pot, then I'm going to go ahead and do some trimming on it. Get rid of some of these really long leggy branches. Get it back into some kind of bonsai look instead of just all crazy. Although I do kind of like it looking kind of crazy. We'll look at it and see what it looks like after I get it in the pot here. I want to make sure if you have roots that are kind of poking up, to kind of get them to go down into the soil, or cut them off. These ones I want to keep, so I'm going to just get them to go down into the soil. Alright, that looks pretty good. Alright, yeah, I like that. Let me throw my tools on the floor real quick, because that's a good place for them. Move this out of the way a little bit. Collect this soil off the table. Alright, so let's do a turn around of this tree and see if we do want to take off some branches here. And I think I do, because these ones out here are like really drooping. I think I'm going to take them off back to here. And these bugs are bad in the morning. Alright. Now I want to make it to where it's 1 into 2. And I also want to make it to where I don't have like a huge gap in between each branch. What I'm talking about is right here. Let's see if I can get the camera in further. I got so much stuff in this greenhouse. I need to get a storage shed so I can put some of this stuff up. Alright, anyway. See if we can see this. Okay, right here is what I'm talking about. This right here. So I've got 2 branches and then a branch on top. right? But this branch, these two branches, they spread out a lot. I'm considering keeping this branch and get rid of this branch, because this branch is covering up a lot over here. I'm not sure if that's necessarily a good idea, because this one's like going up and out. I might just get rid of both of these branches here, like that. And now I've got just this branch going off this direction. I've got another one in here and another one right here that we could cut back to later if we need to. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to try and take off all the branches that are going out, up and out, like this one. Either take that one off or take the two off the bottom. I'm trying to think of which one I want to do. I might just do kind of the same thing I did with the other one. I'm going to take this top one off, and I'm going to take this one off, because that's going across everything over here. So now that opens up this. And then I'm going to take off branches that are going like straight down into the other branches here. I'll take that one off. Kind of wondering about this one. It's like going down into everything. Okay, I'm going to take that one off. Take that off. I'll take this off. There we go. So we still have some right here, but it's not so much. And then this branch is like going down into everything, and it's going under all of this too. So I'm going to take this one off. Like that. So I got this branch also. It's going clear across everything. This one's going clear across everything, and then I've got all this here. And I don't want to just randomly take everything off of here and just hack at it, because I want this tree to look nice still. I think it's been a while since I've trimmed this back too, so I think I'm just going to go through and also, like let's say with this branch here, I can wait until this back buds and then cut it back. I think I'm just going to take it off because I've got all this here and I've got that there, so I'll go ahead and just take that off. This one's coming out from in here. Dead branch there. So I've got this branch right here going across everything, and then I've got these two branches that are kind of going upwards a little bit. So I'm going to take this branch off so that these guys can fill in this space later on and be higher off of this branch here. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the flower buds that I see, because this tree is not doing so great right now. So I'm going to take off any extra that this tree is trying to produce right now. Don't need to be building cherries right this minute, but that's what the cherries look like right there. But I'm going to take the end of this branch off. And then this branch is going down into the tree, so take that one off. This branch is going up out of the tree, so I'm going to go ahead and take that one off. And then I've got this branch that's got these two really wide growing out, and then this one that's growing through here. This will eventually start drooping down into this section, So I'm going to take the flower buds off. If I can see it, there we go. And then I'm going to take this branch off so that this branch can grow out into this section here. Doesn't take much to get these trees into shape, actually. Alright, so I've got this branch here going across everything here. I'm going to take that one out. So yeah, so that looks better. That's the roots that I was talking about right here. It grows roots on the bottom side of the branches when it's really humid and the tree is... I think it's going to be, if it's overwatered or underwatered, it's going to start growing aerial roots, or if it's just really humid, it might. So that's what they look like. So I could take this branch off right here and grow that into a new tree pretty easily. Not going to, because I like that branch. I actually, a long time ago when I was setting this up, I kind of bent these two branches over and it split right there. And it's actually starting to not look like it split there. It's kind of cool. Got roots growing out the bottom here. I think I'm going to take all these off. I don't really need aerial roots on this tree, at least not at the top. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick spin around, see if I got everything I wanted to get. I think so. It looks pretty good. I'm going to take this off. It's a dead branch. Flower buds. This thing had some really cool flowers before I started overwatering it. Alright. I'm going to take this one off too. Sounds like I need a new turntable. Either that or I need to wash it out. Kind of cheap, but it works. And if it gets damaged, I'm not super upset about, replacing a $1,000 turntable or something. Wow, I don't know if the soil has a bunch of bugs or the bugs are coming out of the roots. Tons of little bugs on this thing. I'm gonna have to spray it down with some neem oil, I think. I just don't want to overdo it while it's having issues, but I don't want to underdo it while it's having issues and let it die. So I probably will spray it with some neem oil. Alright, so I'm going to bring you back out a little bit. Give you a spin around of the tree from a distance here. So that's what she looks like now. A little bit better. A couple of yellowing leaves still, but I'm going to leave those on there until they fall off. And I'll give you guys another update in the near future. I'm gonna put this video out, and then I'm going to let it grow for a while, and I'll give you guys an update on it, see how it goes, and I'll let you know if I figured it out that it was being overwatered, or if it actually had some kind of pest, which obviously did kind of have some kind of pest. So I really like the flowers on these trees. I took a short video, which I'll put at the beginning of this, so you've already seen it. But that tree is a tree that came from this tree. It was a cutting, and I think I've had that tree for a couple of years now, and just letting it grow, and it's starting to look really good too. And that one was obviously, it was overwatered as well, but that one, it's been repotted recently, so I don't need to repot it. Just slowed down on the watering. And you saw what the cherry looks like. It's super pretty looking cherries, so I'm probably going to pick that one off and eat it because it is red and ready. And the cherries on these are very very strong. They're a very strong flavor. So if you don't like cherries, it's probably not going to be your favorite thing. But if you do like cherries, it's a very strong flavor. It's kind of got a citrusy flavor to it as well. So yeah, they're really good. All right, so I think that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and take you guys back out to the garden with me. We'll put it on the bench and we'll water this in because obviously all this soil is dry. So we will water this in. I got a big old mimosa growing across my garden here. All right, so right here is where it sits, and you can kind of see that it's got stuff growing on the top here. So I might come back and see if I can get rid of this stuff because it's on there really good. So I'm gonna have to get some kind of scraper. But yeah, that's where she sits. Such a cool tree. I really like this tree. Put you guys down. Grab the hose. Alright, so I'm just going to water it in until the water comes out the bottom. I'm going to do nice and gentle because this is all fresh new soil. Don't want to wash it away, but I want to make sure that it's nice and wet. And I also want to make sure that I'm getting all the dirt out of the soil, or the powdery parts of the soil. So I always water it until it comes out clean. The water comes out clean. There, that looks good. And because this is fresh soil, this will drain and it will dry out faster than the other soil. So yeah, so there she is. And here's the other tree. It's got a bunch of flowers on it and no leaves. Might go through and take the flowers off. Might take some pictures first. I think it's really cool. Here's another cherry tree. So that's what the branches should look like. They should have lots of leaves on them. It didn't have leaves back here, but as you can see, it does backbud. So this should be good here in the near future. This tree has taken a little while to get back to growing. The pot wasn't draining, so it was having some issues earlier. And here's another one. This one is also probably going to be repotted. Yeah, I'm going to repot this today because it's got a bunch of dying leaves. I don't want this to die. So anyway, I'm going to bring this into the greenhouse and repot it. But that's going to be it for this video. I appreciate y'all watching. Appreciate y'all's support. And I'll see you on the next one.